The RCMP plans to use undercover agents online to infiltrate extremist groups. Wait, doesn't Canada already have a pretty dark history of this? Now, the idea being here that there are extremist groups out there and they want to do extreme things, and well, the RCMP want to keep an eye on them and infiltrate these groups and find out exactly what it is they're doing. Now, of course, where does this lead? Well, we'll find out. And where has this gone? Well, we're going to go over that. Now, CBC News broke the story saying RCMP is planning to conduct undercover surveillance online using fake personas to investigate ideological extremists in Canada, says international strategy document. Now I replied to this saying planning to. Yeah, of course. Other people are replying, yeah, like they haven't started already. Of course. Now we're gonna get into this article in just a moment here, but there is a past. There is a past, and I mean, we may even know of this past in the United States recently. If you've ever been told to, I don't know, go into the Capitol, perhaps. The Ray Epps story, if you haven't heard that, I mean, wow, you've been living under a rock. But of course, there's this famous story here. Lawyers argued the FBI lured men for Michigan Governor Whitmer kidnapping plot. Yeah, that's right. This was an online group of guys who, you know, didn't like the government, of course. You throw a stone and catch one of those people online pretty easily, especially in today's age. But here's the plot here. 4 men charged with planning to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer were swayed by informants and federal agents who targeted them for their anti-government views. Defense attorney said Wednesday, portraying the men as big talkers and wannabes who never meant what they said. Yeah, that's right. That what was supposed to be people going to investigate people for their ideologically extremist views actually were the ones encouraging them and entrapping them into doing something about their views, or becoming more extreme, or even inciting these kinds of activities. But hey, this is where we're at, and I'm going to get into some of the cases in Canada that we have had in the past as well. But let's get into this article. RCMP plans to go undercover online to trap violent extremists. International document says Mounties will use fake online profiles to pursue extremist activity. Well, we're just going to go pursue it, right? That's all we're going to do. That's all that's going to happen in this case. The RCMP is planning to conduct undercover surveillance online using fake personas to investigate ideological extremists in Canada, says international strategy document. In experts in ideologically motivated violent extremism, which they have an acronym for now, it's IMVE. During the Emergencies Act inquiry, became very familiar with this term and CSIS and what they've done, what they've talked about and written about, and their reports on this in Canada, and say the strategy is overdue at a time when online extremism threatens to spill over into real world violence. They warn that extremist activity in Canada could increase in the wake of the U.S. election, regardless of who becomes the next president. Right, fair enough. That's what they're saying. But is this true? Civil liberties advocates, and will it happen perhaps at the advice of agents online? And we're going to get into this. Civil liberties advocates say they fear that having officers carry out undercover investigations online using fake personas could violate charter rights or lead people to take actions they otherwise may not take. This is the whole idea of entrapment, the whole idea of pushing people further into this ideological extremism, when maybe they're just saying, it sucks having to pay so many taxes. Maybe it sucks to do this. Or maybe they're on the left and they're saying, oh, I want to, I wish we could just, stop oil, or whatever the case may be. And this gets into the situation of why the government shouldn't have these powers, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. At some point, the popular political party perhaps won't be on your side, and advocating for more government now, maybe not the best interest for you, and having the government do these kinds of things, because long term, that gun may be pointed at you, and this is the whole idea. They point out that the RCMP ran afoul of Canada's privacy commissioner earlier this year with other online investigative activities. They're also calling for guardrails to cover undercover online surveillance. The internal strategy document dated April 2024 was obtained through access to information law by Matt Malone, Balsillie School of International Affairs, and shared with CBC News. The term IMVE can cover anything from white supremacists and neo-Nazis to far-left environmental and animal rights organizations. So there it is. It can be on both sides of the aisle here. So careful what you wish for if you're saying that this might be a good thing. Perhaps it might turn on you. You never know. While much of the internal document discusses the needs for police forces to work together to counter threats to national security, it also outlines the RCMP's plans to take its investigation beyond simply watching what it posts, what is posted online. The RCMP's lack of covert online presence was previously highlighted in the OIR Operational Improvement Review, which recommended that the RCMP develop its own online undercover program to assist with national security criminal investigations, says the strategy document. And so let's get into a brief history of what has happened in Canada regarding this stuff. Now, you could, look at articles going back to 2018 here, Police, Spies, and White Supremacy, a brief history of, it's crazy. It's crazy to even pontificate about this stuff. But again, links will be in the description down below. But would be this might be news to a lot of people out there, but there was a group called the Heritage Front, and they were the biggest actual white supremacy group in Canada in history. And it was a large group of individuals who had, pretty abhorrent viewpoints, and they were radicalized. Well, how are they radicalized, and how did they become a group? Well, it turns out that their founder was a paid CSIS informant. Unbelievable. He was there to, go in and do exactly what they're talking about, infiltrate the groups of people who were, leaning in this direction. And he ended up actually making them extreme. He actually became their leader and formed this big criminal group, which later was taken down with the help of one of their insiders wearing a wire and going in and infiltrating this group, and then they were able to take them down. But it was actually the argument there is it may not have been a group if it wasn't for CSIS getting involved with them in the first place. And then there are other reports of, in this case, the Nova Scotia shooter case has hallmarks of an undercover operation. This is unbelievable. Police sources say the killer's withdrawal of a bunch of money was highly irregular, and how an RCMP agent would get money. This is how you would pass money off to agents, undercover agents. And this story is a really sketchy one. I don't know all the details on it, but RCMP officers who considered Nova Scotia gunmen a contact had no memory of threats, complaints, things like that. Now, there is conflicting reports. Here's another article from CTV News saying that Nova Scotia mass killer accumulated cash through illegitimate or suspicious means, but then goes on to say that there's no proof that this person was an informant. This gets really sketchy when you start going down these rabbit holes of what happened in these particular situations. Were they actually enticed to become so extreme because of police investigations, police informants, and police undercover agents? What is happening in this situation? And with this leaked document now that has actually been, every once in a while, the CBC does some actual work, has uncovered and is talking about this case here in Canada where the RCMP plans to go undercover to trap violent extremism. Now, in this case, I want to put this forward. I want to put this forward to the audience out there because this is the case. Historically, when governments have infiltrated groups like this, they've actually further radicalized these groups. This has been documented time and time again, where people who had otherwise just been, people to complain about what governments were doing, complain about what certain groups were doing, and ended up radicalizing them. Will this happen now with environmental groups? Has this actually been happening in the past with environmental groups or, what they consider far-right extremist groups, people on the fringes who may have, strange opinions or abhorrent opinions, to be frank, but is the fact of them trying to investigate this actually organizing these groups and making them something they never would have become in the first place? I want to leave this question with you guys out there. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. And of course, we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.